So client has a phenomenal dog, right? Young, energetic, a power breed. It's like a Mastiff Corso mix, basically, right? Really, really, really good dog, right? They ran into a very, very unfortunate situation with him recently, right? So they were out of town a couple of weeks ago, right? And the client, so this is a dog that I had advised, right? It's probably a good idea just to board him at a boarding kennel, right? The dog is not what I would consider to be an aggressive dog, right? He's not out trying to bite people and attack people and this and that, right? But he's a pushy dog. He's a strong dog, and his owners have phenomenal control over him, and they've never had any problems with him before, right? But that's because of, again, that relationship they have with him, right? They have a good relationship with him where they have guests come over and this and that. He knows he can't push people around, and he knows what's expected of him, and he knows dad's going to keep him in check if he, acts up or anything like that. Whatever, right? So they, understandably so, I understand why a lot of people like this. They have kind of the mentality of, well, we don't want to board him because we don't want him to sit in a kennel, and, he should be able to just be home and like being at home and this and that, right?
Yeah.
So they have a pet sitter they've been working with forever, right? And, listen, it's not as bad as obviously it could have been, whatever. So they had a pet sitter, right? She was watching them. They have two dogs. They have like an older dog, and they have this dog, right? And whatever, things were fine. They went over the process of this is how you handle him, right? This is, to let him out, to feed him, this, that. And again, I want to triple clarify. This dog has not really had an issue with people before. He's just a big, strong, pushy dog, right? That could throw his weight around. I think he's like 120 pounds or something like that.
He's a big,
right? He's a big dude.
Yeah.
So whatever. They're like 2 days into it. They get a call from her dog bit her, right? They were, she was letting them in from outside. It was, rainy or something like that. And she's wiping their paws off. And she goes down, and I guess he's like squirming around. And she grabs the towel and tries to grab his paw with it. And he turns around and he just nails her, right? It's like, I think she had to get like 4 stitches or something like that, like injuries, things like that. She was okay. It's not like he was trying to attack her or anything like that, but he very clearly was like, no. I don't want you to be fucking with my paws right now. And he had no problem telling her that, right? So naturally, owner was panicked, right? Like I think he was in like Chicago or something like that. I think he canceled his trip, came back right away, made sure everything was okay, this, that. Girl was fine, right? Dog is fine, this, that. But naturally he's concerned. He called me like, I don't know what to do about, help. I don't know what to do about this, right? So I went over the house yesterday. I just got back in from out of town, obviously. So it was the first time I was able to get over there. And, we sat down and we kind of talked about the situation a little bit and stuff. And it's hard because this is where you get into calibrating expectations with stuff, right? Now, this client is phenomenal, right? Like I have a really great relationship with them. They trust me. There's no judgment of like, oh, well, you didn't train him well enough or this or that. And mind you, it's also been a while since we've worked with this dog too.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So and I wanted to go to the house to see what was going on, right? I was like, well, let's get some more information on the situation. Let's see what his behavior is like in the house, right? So I get there, I walk up to the door, knock on the door, ring the doorbell, silent, right? It's great, right? And I walk in, I was like, where's he at? He's like, oh, he's in his bed over there. I look over, laying on his bed, being perfectly, it was great, right? Like he cleared, the first thing that I look for when I go into a situation like that is, has the training slipped, right? Is the dog at a place where they're pushing even the owner around with stuff, right? Because if that's the case, that's one thing we could look at right away of improving, right? In this case, that wasn't a problem, right? In this case, the dog was in complete control, right? Or the human was in complete control of the dog in this situation, right? So I go in, look, I was like, okay, this is positive, right? This looks great. I was like, all right, well, what happened? This, that. They kind of explain the situation to me, explain what the pet sitter had told them, this, that. And, we had to have the conversation at that point that we've had before, but We had it in a more serious manner at this point because anytime something like that happens, it's funny. We had a clip go up recently from the podcast where I talked about, how to move past an aggressive incident and how do we get back to how things were before.
Yeah.
Remember that one?
Yep.
Right? Which I thought was a phenomenal clip. And the truth is, stuff like that is your reality check. You know what I mean? Stuff like that is the kind of, right?
Yeah.
Hey, we got to change some things here. Right? We got to change some things here because here's the thing, right? Even though I know this is a good dog, that's one strike.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even if it's not his fault, even if we look at this situation, we'll be like, well, we screwed up, right? We make that mistake again, something else happens, man, 2 strikes, starts looking real ugly, right? We make that mistake again. Third thing happens. That's typically at the point where most people are like, all right,
Yep.
euthanization.
Yeah.
Right? And it's unfortunate because a lot of these dogs, again, they're misunderstood, and that's why stuff like this is happening, right? I had the conversation with them. I equate things to my dogs all the time, right? One thing I think as a trainer that I have passed a lot of people, right, is I've experienced a lot of shit with my dogs, right? I've had a lot of dogs before. I've had a lot of really, really crazy situations amongst my dogs. I've had a whole slew of different behavioral issues, right, with my dogs. So I could relate to the majority of the things that people will tell me as far as stuff that I've needed to do or accept with my dogs, right? And I use Vinny as an example all the time because Vinny is a case in point example of a dog that I do not consider to be an aggressive dog, right? But there are a lot of bad time, bad place kind of scenarios that could come up where I guarantee you he would bite somebody, like with 100% certainty.
Yeah.
Right. And again, he's not an aggressive dog from the standpoint of like he's going to try to like fuck you up, right? Or go after you or this or that.
Yeah.
But he's the kind of dog and has the temperament where if push comes to shove, he's going to let you know that he doesn't like something. Right.
Yeah.
Now, I have a really good relationship with Vinny, obviously, right? I've owned him for 8 years now or so, right? Like him and we've been through it all. You know what I mean? Like I've seen the ups, I've seen the downs.
Yeah.
We have a very mutually respectful relationship of each other where I understand what he needs, right? I understand what his limitations are, and he understands that some things do not fly if I'm around.
Yeah.
Right? But because that is ingrained in his temperament, that is in his DNA as far as he is a pushy, strong, confident-willed dog, right? I know that if I'm not present, I always can run the risk of him taking that responsibility into his own hands if he doesn't like something, right? I know I need to control the environment around him to keep him safe and happy, right? So I use them as an example. I go to the client's house, right? And I ask him about the scenario. I was like, listen, I always start the stuff off by saying, I'm not justifying the behavior, right? In the end of the day, I don't want dogs biting people, right?
No.
Obviously.
Yeah.
Right? I don't think dogs should be biting people, right? Under any circumstances. But it is a twofold equation when it comes to those types of things, right? It's a twofold equation of me holding the dog accountable for their behavior and me holding myself accountable to keep them successful, right? And I explained, I was like, the thing about pet sitters, right? The thing about like people watching your dogs in your home, right? Is like, look at this from the dog's perspective, right? I understand some people can get away with this. I understand there's hundreds of thousands of millions of people out there that use pet sitters when they go out of town and it's no problem, right? But that's with a lot of these people have really easy dogs.
Yeah.
Right? There's a whole caliber of different types of dogs out there, right? Everything from your cupcake little easy dogs that would never hurt a fly to your confident dogs, right? To your actual aggressive dogs, right? And everything in between. It's a spectrum, right? And we tend to look at like the cupcake easy dogs, those are the good dogs, and the aggressive dogs, those are the bad dogs, right? But that's not necessarily true, right?
Yeah.
This whole spectrum of dogs that we're working with are just dogs that have different temperaments and different needs, and that doesn't make them good or bad, right? That just means that we have to adjust what we're doing for them. Whatever.
Yep,
So
exactly.
So the thing about pet sitters that's weird is dogs naturally are inherently territorial creatures, right? When you have people come over your house, dogs come over your house, they inevitably will have a stronger association of territorialness with your property, right? And we could do all sorts of things to improve that. We could do all sorts of things to help them realize, listen, it's not your house, it's my house. You have to have respect of me as opposed to just take it upon yourself to guard this kind of stuff. But again, wired into these dogs is a sense of territorialness, right? We see it all the time, right? That's why we see dogs are worse in their home than they are anywhere else, right? They're more confident, they're more emboldened. The owners do more things with them that help encourage that state of mind, and you can run into problems because of it, right? So then you tack on, since this training thing, right? Since this behavior thing with dogs is a relationship thing, it is about me helping them feel safe, but also helping them stay accountable for their behavior. And you then remove me from the equation in a territorial environment, and then you have some rando person coming into your house that's just like, I'm going to do all the routines with you that your owner typically does with you, but I'm probably going to do most of them incorrect because I'm not your owner. Again, no offense to the pet sitters, obviously, right? And you're going to just need to tolerate that. Yes, I understand some dogs can do that. A lot of dogs can do that. There are some that can't. And we need to understand that. And this goes hand in hand with vets, right? I have another dog written down here. And I'm going to try to not jump around too much, obviously, right now. But, this is similar with vets, right? When you go to the vet and you go into a weird place and suddenly all of these things are going to have to start happening to your dog that never happened anywhere else. The poking, the prodding, the needles, the this, the that, the weird person in a strange environment with all these noises and smells and sounds and this and that, right? And they have to be okay with it, right? Again, equating things to my dog. Kate is at the vet right now with Deli and Turk, right? They need to get some shots and this and that, whatever. Deli and Vinny, but I'm just using Deli as the example because she's at the vet right now. Deli, you remember, was a goddamn lunatic at the vet.
Crazy.
Right, dude? Like absolute psychopath at the vet. Like needs sedated to get things done to her and this and that. And again, it wasn't that she's trying to kill you at the vet by any means, but she gets so freaking freaked out when she's there, she can't control herself.
No.
Right? I've accepted that is to some extent going to be in her behavior forever, right? We've improved on it a lot. We literally have a video from when I first met Kate of us taking her to the vet and showing how we worked through that behavior, right? And she's so much better than she used to. But Deli is never going to love the vet, right? And a part of this gets into then, anytime we're relinquishing control of a situation, right? Anytime I'm saying, I'm not either going to be present to control this situation, right? Or I'm not going to be the one handling the dog because you need to do this job, right? So I can't control the situation. Or groomers, I'm going to take you to the groomer and I'm not in control of the situation. Or I'm going to leave you at a rando boarding kennel or daycare kennel and I'm not there to control the situation, right? I don't put the responsibility on the dog in those types of situations. I put the responsibility on the owner for misinterpreting what the dog is able to tolerate good enough. You know what I mean? I am so freaking strict about who I leave my dogs with. I'm so unbelievably strict about what I expect of those people when I leave my dogs with them, right? Because I know that given the right recipe of things, with people that don't know my dog as well as I do, can result in an incident like that will cause them to be painted in a bad light.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?